I want to talk to you guys today about something that took me a really long time to work out, and I think it deserves attention. The Philippines is not built for foreigners to win, definitely not in the way you might be picturing when you watch the videos and read the blogs. Not in the way the friendly Filipino you met on the dating app is going to explain it to you, and especially not in the way the property developer salesman in Makati is going to lay it out while trying to sell you an overpriced condo. The country, top to bottom, has been engineered in a way that puts the Western foreigner on the losing side of almost every single transaction he enters into. The reason it took me so long to work out is that none of it, in the individual pieces, look big at first glance. Each one looks like a small quirk, a cultural difference, and a minor inconvenience you find yourself smiling through. Yet, stack them up over months and years and you realise the whole thing was designed this way and the design works against you at every turn. I've spent a reasonable amount of time in the Philippines. It was going to be the country that I moved to after Thailand, and there is a lot I love about the Philippines. But loving a lot of things about the country on the surface level is not the same thing as being able to accept the system you are walking into when you arrive as a Western foreigner with a pension if you're a bit older, savings if you've done well for yourself, or remote income, and a dream of building a life there. Those are two different things, and the moment you confuse them, the country starts to take you for everything you have, until one day you look up and you realise the dream has cost you something that you can't replace. Now, the article version of this is over on my website. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. Please go and check it out. It's the starting point for something big that I'm building to help Western foreigners in Southeast Asia. By a Westerner for Westerners. I love Southeast Asia, but the current expat space is being taken over by the wrong people, and as Westerners, we are simply not treated as we should be, and I'm doing what I can to fight back against that. I will be launching something over the next couple of weeks, so keep posted for that. Let me walk you through what I mean from the top down, because the small things are what really matters here. The arguments that most people raise about land ownership and visa restrictions and pension visibility are real, and better options need to be available, but they are not where the foreigner actually loses. The foreigner loses in the small daily transactions that nobody warned him about, because the people writing the warnings have not lived long enough in the country to actually notice them. Let me start with the language thing, because the language thing is the gateway to everything else. Tagalog is a real language with real grammar, and English is widely spoken at the surface level in the Philippines. That much is true. What is not true is the implied promise that you, as a Western foreigner, will be able to function in this country on English alone, the way you might function in Singapore or in parts of Malaysia. Because the English that you encounter is the English of the transaction. It is the English of the menu, the airport, the mall, and the receptionist at the condo. It is not the English of the negotiation, the family conversation, the price discussion among the staff before they tell you the number, the side comment between the two cashiers as you fumble for your peso notes. So the foreigner who arrives believing he can navigate the Philippines on English alone is the foreigner who is constantly missing half of the conversation. And the half he is missing is the half that determines what he pays, how he's treated, and whether the system around him is working with him or against him. Now let me talk about the smile thing, because this one took me years to understand. Filipino warmth is real, according to many of my friends. My wife is Thai, so I better state I have no personal experience there. The smile can be genuine in many cases, but the smile, in the Philippines, is also a tool. The smile is what you receive when something has gone wrong, and the person in front of you needs you to not make a scene. The smile is what you receive when the price has been doubled and the staff member needs you to not notice. The smile is what you receive when a promise has been broken and the person who broke it needs you to absorb the broken promise without confrontation. Though the Western foreigner who reads every Filipino smile as warmth is the foreigner who is misreading roughly half of his daily interactions. Some smiles are warmth, some smiles are management. The trick is learning to tell the difference, and almost nobody from the West arrives knowing how. I want to talk about a thing that I noticed in my early years going to the Philippines that I have never seen anywhere else, and anyone discuss honestly. The way money flows in a Filipino family is fundamentally different from the way money flows in a Western family. And this matters a lot, enormously, for the foreigner who ends up with a Filipina partner. In the West, when an adult earns money, that money is broadly considered his. He might support his parents in old age and he might help out a sibling in trouble, but the default assumption is that his income is his income, and what he gives away is his choice. In the Philippines, the default assumption is that anything earned by anyone in the extended family is available to be drawn on by anyone else in the extended family who has need. The brother who has lost his job, the cousin whose business failed, the aunt whose roof needs fixing, the nephew who wants to go to university, all of them have a legitimate claim on the earner's income. And the earner who refuses the claim is the earner who has broken the rules of being a Filipino. So when the Western foreigner partners with a Filipina, what he does not realize is that he has just partnered with her entire extended family's financial situation. He has signed up to a system where his savings, his pension, his salary, his property holdings are now part of a pool that the family is going to draw on. He can resist, he can try to set boundaries, he can try to explain Western financial individualism to a culture that does not operate on it, but he will be resisting the entire weight of the country and the culture and the family his partner belongs to. Most foreigners eventually give in, because the cost of refusing is the relationship itself. And once they give in, the savings start to drain in ways they had not budgeted for. Now, I want to talk about prices, because this is where the small things stack up into something serious. There is no official two-tier pricing in the Philippines, like there is in some other countries in the region. Thailand. What there is, instead, is something subtler and harder to push back on. The Western foreigner gets quoted prices that are systematically higher than the local quote, but the difference is small enough on any individual transaction that he does not always push back. A jeepney ride, a meal, a bottle of water, a haircut, a tuk-tuk, a small repair on the condo. All of them cost the foreigner more than they cost his Filipino neighbour. The difference might be 20 pesos here or 50 pesos there or 100 pesos on the bigger items. But multiply that across every transaction, across every day, across every year, and you are looking at a sum that materially affects how your money goes. The foreigner who proudly tells you that he never gets ripped off has, in almost every case, been getting gently overcharged on hundreds of small daily transactions, and the system is designed so that he never really notices. There is something else about price that is worth understanding. In the Philippines, asking the price is often the trigger for the price being decided. The price was not set in advance. The price is set the moment the foreigner shows interest. So the answer to how much is this is not a number that exists anywhere else of independently of you. The answer to how much is this is the maximum the seller thinks he can get away with charging you, specifically based on your appearance, your accent, your shoes, the watch on your wrist, the brand of phone in your hand. The Western foreigner who walks into the transaction believing there is a fixed price he is being told is the foreigner who is the easiest target. The Filipino who walks into the same transaction knows the price is a negotiation and she negotiates from a different starting position. Let me talk about time, because time is another thing that works against the foreigner. In the West, time is broadly assumed to be money. An appointment at 3 means 3. A delivery promised on Tuesday means Tuesday. A contractor who said the work would take a week is held to a week. In the Philippines, time is more fluid, and the fluidity is not random. The fluidity flows in a particular direction. The foreigner's time is treated as flexible. The local's time, especially the time of anyone with status, is treated as fixed. So when a contractor is late, the local who has status gets seen first. When a delivery is delayed, the foreigner who has paid in advance is the one who waits. When a government office closes for an unexpected public holiday, the foreigner who has travelled across the city to get his paperwork done is the one whose day is wasted. The system absorbs the foreigner's time without compensating him for it, and it does so with such gentle politeness that he often does not realise it is happening. Now I want to talk about the legal system, because this is where the small things turn into the serious things. The Western foreigner is broadly used to a legal system in which the law is the law, and the rich man and the poor man are at least, theoretically, subject to the same rules. In the Philippines, the legal system is not designed that way. The legal system is designed to be navigated, and the navigation depends on who you know, what you can pay, and how patient you can afford to be. So when a foreigner gets into a dispute with a local, whether it is over property, over a contract, over an injury or a debt, the foreigner who walks into the legal system expecting Western-style adjudication is the foreigner who is in trouble. The local has the network, the local has the language, the local has the cultural fluency to know which palms to grease and which to leave alone. The foreigner has none of that, and his foreignness is itself a disadvantage that the system will exploit. Next, let's talk about property briefly, because I have done an entire separate video on this and I don't really want to repeat myself. But it is worth flagging here in the context of the wider picture. The foreigner cannot own land. He can own a condo within a quota, but he cannot own the land underneath. So everything he builds, every dollar he sinks into a house, every peso he puts into a property he thinks is his, is sitting on land that he does not own. The land is owned by his wife, his girlfriend, his Filipino business partner, his lawyer's Filipino cousin who agreed to be the nominee. And when that relationship goes wrong, the legal system that is not designed for him is the system that is going to resolve who keeps the house. You can guess how that usually ends. So when I say the Philippines is not built for foreigners to win, this is what I mean. The language works against you. The smile system works against you. The family financial expectations work against you. The price quoting works against you. The time system works against you. The legal system works against you. The land laws, they work against you. None of it looks big when you arrive. All of it adds up over years to a system that is gently and politely, and with a great deal of warmth on the surface, going to take from you and not give back in equal measure. Now I want to be quite careful, because I am not telling you not to go. I am telling you the Philippines is a terrible country or anything like that. That's not the case. I have explained that I love a lot about the country. But what I am telling you is that the foreigner who goes in without his eyes open is the foreigner who comes out the other side having paid a price he did not budget for. The country has a particular way of operating, and the Western foreigner who does not understand the operating model is the foreigner the model is going to feed on. The foreigners that I have seen do well in the Philippines have all done a particular thing. They have arrived without illusions. They have understood from the very beginning that they are walking into a system where the default settings work against them, and they have built their lives around mitigating each of those default settings as they go. They keep their finances ring-fenced from their partner's family. They learn enough Tagalog or Cebuano to catch the side comments. They negotiate every price as a matter of habit, not as a special occasion. They never sink money into property that they cannot afford to walk away from. They stray out of the legal system wherever possible, and when they cannot stay out of it, they make sure they have the cultural and linguistic support to navigate it. They treat the smile as information, not as the meaning of the interaction. Those foreigners are not bitter. They are not making the Philippines worse for anyone. They are just operating with their eyes open. They have understood that the country is what it is, and they have decided to engage with it on those terms. The foreigners who lose, the ones I have watched lose over 20 years of watching this region, are the ones who never made that adjustment. They believed the hype. They believed the smiles. They believed the system would treat them the way a Western system would treat them. They put their money into property in their wife's name. They trusted the contractor. They paid the lawyer up front. They assumed the local prices applied to them. They did not learn the language. They did not learn to read the smile. They did not understand the family financial pool, and year by year, transaction by transaction, the country gently took what they had until they were left with whatever the wife allowed them to leave with. The visa they were lucky enough to still qualify, and a flight home they could no longer afford to take. That is a version of the Philippines that the usual videos just won't show you. The friendly smiles are real, but the system underneath them is not friendly. It is not hostile either. It is just designed to work for the people it was built to work for, and the Western foreigner is not one of those people. He was never meant to be. The country has its own logic, and the logic does not have you in mind. I tell you this because someone needs to tell you. I tell you this because nobody else is going to. I tell you this because I have watched too many men arrive in the Philippines convinced that they were going to win, and I have watched the country take them apart, smile by smile, peso by peso, year by year, until they had nothing left to argue with. And every one of those men, if you had asked him in the first year, would have told you he was the exception. He was the smart one. He was the one who had it all figured out. He was wrong, and he found out he was wrong slowly, the way you always find out you are wrong in the Philippines. Politely, gently, and by then it is too late. So go to the Philippines if you want to visit, spend time there, and get to know the people. But know what you are walking into before you commit your life to it. The country is not built for you to win. The country is built for itself, and if you arrive understanding that, you might just be one of the foreigners who comes out the other side intact. If you arrive not understanding it, you are one of the foreigners I have watched the country relieve of everything he had. And the worst part is, he never even saw it happening. Thanks for tuning in to today's Philippines Deep Dive, guys. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the website, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers and bye for now.